Syndicates are reportedly targeting Johannesburg's power grid, with City Power suggesting that some of its own employees may be involved. The utility has revealed that thieves and vandals are causing widespread damage, with incidents often occurring just days after repairs have been completed.
The latest incident took place just last Tuesday, so let's talk about it with the head of risk and security at City Power. This is Sergeant Thela. To add some insight on the scale of the problem and what City Power is doing to fight back. Good morning. You know, you sit with a huge responsibility. And by the way, thank you. We always forget our manners.
Yes.
Appreciate you and thank you for coming in. And I hope that we've given you at least a warm drink so far. The numbers are astonishing. 300 million rand, I think, was what your chief operating officer said for the last financial year. Correct. In terms of the cost of cable theft and vandalism to City Power. Who is stealing? Where's the money going?
Yeah, Imani and Arabile, good morning, and good morning, fellow South Africans. It's a complicated kind of a case if you deal with we call it essential infrastructure crime, not really cable theft and vandalism. It has got a huge ecosystem that includes the guys on the ground that are stealing the cable, but then it moves to the scrap metal dealers. In between, we have got recyclers. Then we have got exporters. And our analysis is that the market is broadly outside the country. And I think South Africa, it's one of the high exporters of copper.
Which country in particular is it going?
Well, for diplomatic purposes, I will not say that, but it's a...
But why not? I mean, you know, if we know that countries are benefiting from what's happening, it allows us to strengthen the way that we negotiate with them. It allows us to strengthen. I mean, I suppose for them it's hard to detect whether this is stolen copper cables or not. So I don't think it's an unfair question to ask, Sergeant, where is it going? Which is the market? Yeah,
I think our understanding is that mostly the market is, I think, China. But what is happening in South Africa, you find that once the cable is stolen, it then gets mixed up with legitimate copper that would have been sold to the scrap metal dealers. And it becomes obviously difficult for you to detect it. So you'll then find that when it is exported outside the country, it's no longer deemed to be a stolen copper because it has gone through the proper legitimate kind of a process. The challenge is that when it is stolen, immediately it reaches maybe the refineries. They start to granulate it. It becomes difficult for you to detect which copper is stolen here, which one is not stolen, because it ends up now being mixed up.
I mean, the list is astonishing. And by the way, where I live is a repeat for cable theft-related transformer issues that are related to theft. So it's just a headache. But I'm looking at a list from March this year, and I think there are, let's count in total, I mean, there are just, I think, 28 or so in total incidents. Lombardy East is a big one where a lot of this seems to happen. So you've got this critical infrastructure. You know it's going to be attractive to the people who want what's inside.
Correct.
What are you doing to, or maybe I should ask, why have you not been able to protect that infrastructure? Why are these criminals smarter and able to outwit whatever it is that you're throwing at them?
Yeah, I think maybe the question of us not able to protect it, it's not a correct statement. I think we need to contextualize the population of the network itself. And I think that's where we're going to get to understand whether we are failing to protect it or not. Because our infrastructure, if you just talk of the lot centers, the green boxes you normally see on the streets, we talk of around about 23,500.
Of
those boxes in the city of Johannesburg environment. If you talk of underground cable, we are talking of more than 18,000 kilometers of underground cable. Sure. And remember, this cable, you can't see it. And some of the cable was installed there some years ago, and we then get surprised by the criminals. So, but what we are doing, I can tell you that we've turned the tide. We've turned the tide. In the past years, I mean, our statistics are there to speak by themselves. In terms of just the end of the financial year, 2024-25 financial year, we're able to reduce these cable thefts by 27%. Literally, it was, if I were to refer to my statistics, it was 1,556, and we reduced it to 1,140. And in the very same process, we were able to increase the number of suspects we've arrested by 30%, moving from 295 suspects to 383. And one will ask to say, what does arrest mean? Because it literally means, an appointment with a magistrate where you will have to answer, against the allegations put before you. But we are happy to also say we are working with the police and the criminal justice system to prosecute. In terms of the prosecution for the year that has just ended, we had 35 suspects that were convicted to 272 years. That is a cumulative direct imprisonment. That in itself, it shows that we are working. And this conviction, it's against 27 suspects who were convicted the previous year, being 2023, 2024. So you will then see that there is an upward trend in terms of the way we are dealing with these suspects. I have to thank the communities we are working with, as well as the police, in terms of their investigation and the partnership we've created with the police.
So, Sergeant, then your thoughts on our poll question then today? Because we're asking people what they think is the best way to mitigate this infrastructure crimes. And there it is up on our screen. The most effective way to combat electricity cable theft and vandalism. Right now, we have almost 50% of people saying stricter security. Is there a way to enhance security to ensure this doesn't happen? You've laid out how much infrastructure there is. And you've been surprised is one of the words you used by the criminals.
Yes.
But now you know.
Yes.
Should there be another way to look after it?
Okay. All the questions which we have suggested there, they form part of the strategy. There is no silver bullet in terms of dealing with this kind of crime. Because if you say security, one may need to define what do we mean about security. Because
how do you define it?
In our case, it's a multi-pronged approach in terms of protecting the electricity network infrastructure. But what we've seen, the community collaboration, it's one of the key things. And therefore, I will talk to issues of awareness to say I think we need to do more awareness in our communities. We currently do have a 24/7 security control center to say if you see something which is a bit suspicious, you are able then to immediately report it to us. And I think I'll give you the number. Maybe when I leave, I'll leave it with you guys.
Have you got it on you? We can just quickly get it ready and we can project it onto our screen. If you want to share it with us now, we'll put it on and our team can have time to put it on.
Yes. The number is 011 490 7553.
Got it.
Yes. So we also have a WhatsApp number. Well, I don't have it off my head now. Where we are able to say to our communities, if you see something, be able to take a picture and send us the GPS location and all that. And that then it assists us to respond quite very quicker. But I think one of the strategies we've been trying to explore from City Power is that how then do we do what we call a local security collaboration that will talk to zonal security in a manner that in each and every corner of our city of Johannesburg, we should at least have additional eyes and ears that are actually protecting the network. Because we'll appreciate we've got a lot of security companies, they respond to alarm systems in our own individual houses. But what is it which they can then do to protect the environment? Because the same network infrastructure we're talking about is located within the very same spaces where we are living.
Yeah. Look, I wonder if this is incentivized, because I think if community members know they'll get something out of it, maybe because it might be worth the loss to the infrastructure. So you can maybe comment on that. But what I'm really interested in, Arabella, is what Sergeant is talking to us about in terms of the arrest. So 383 suspects arrested. I think you said 35 convictions.
Yes.
I want to know if those are the kingpins or these are just the bodies on the ground. I mean, are you able to dig this out from the root? And look, the issue of nationality and who's committing these crimes always comes up.
Yeah.
What is the profile of the cable theft and vandalism syndicate in the city of Johannesburg?
It's a mixed, it's a mixture of nationalities. But we've seen a lot of other guys that come from our SADC countries who are much involved in this.
Where?
Specifically in the inner city, if you look at our underground tunnels.
I mean, which countries?
Mostly the guys from Lesotho. Because you will appreciate the police embarked on this Operation Valumkoti in the to stamp off this illegal mining. Now we get a lot of those guys who are coming, who are pushed from that particular side. Then they find the refuge in our space, because you'll appreciate illegal mining and copper cable theft are more or less twin brothers, if not twin sisters. If they are shifted from one area, then they find refuge on the other area. But I'm happy to say the inner city underground tunnels, we have stabilized that. I think for the past 2 months, we have really seen very, very less incidents. You will appreciate your Imani that sometimes in January there was a standoff between our security officers and some of the criminals underground there. Unfortunately, we needed to send those criminals to their creator, 2 of them. Although one of our own security officer was critically injured as well, but he did survive. So you will appreciate what we are dealing with is not just an ordinary theft, like maybe theft out of a motor vehicle, but we talk of people who have got sophistication equipment, including firearms and the likes. But coming to a question in terms of the conviction, whether we are really able to lay our hand on the syndicates, I think I will say to a certain extent, there is one guy we've picked up, and our preliminary assessment indicated that he was one of the ringleaders. This person was arrested sometimes last year in October, and we rearrested the person again in March this year. And while we did our preliminary investigation on the scene of crime, we got also to realize that prior his arrest, almost 30 minutes before he was arrested, he was in contact with the law enforcement agency. Okay?
That's interesting.
So police are complicit here as well, because you have said
No,
that City Power...
I've not said police. I've said law enforcement agency. Yes.
Who?
A member of a law enforcement agency.
Well, a member of crime intelligence, a member of police, a metro police officer. Give us something.
I will leave it at that
Yeah.
at this stage, because the matter is still under investigation.
Right.
So I wouldn't like to implicate the police, nor JMPD, nor any other law enforcement agency. But that is what we picked up.
Yeah. Are you able to tell us just whether there's sufficient intelligence regarding these copper thefts that you've detailed earlier, that it goes to China and the like?
Yeah.
And knowing that you can then stop that travel of all of it. And I know you said it mixes with a legitimate copper, etc. But if you're able to stop that travel, you're able to stop the sources of income from them. And if over 1,000 scrap yards were actually shut down by the Gauteng provincial government earlier this year, that is another way, one would think, where you'd be able to suss out these criminals. Are those measures and ways to put forward?
I think there are. Maybe let me start from City Power, the step change. We, as an organization, we've decided to take this matter quite very seriously, to the extent then that we have designated a role of a chief risk officer, which is the role I'm currently holding. And the overall purpose here is to bring in some strategic collaboration with the law enforcement agencies, specifically those intelligence apparatus of the country, in terms of understanding how this kind of a crime is manifesting on the ground, and how best we can then be able to stop it.
So to be proactive rather than
to
reactive.
be proactive. Yeah. I can indicate that the police, they are really assisting us a lot. You will appreciate within the PCI, the Hawks, this kind of crime is one of their priority crimes in terms of their strategic plans. And obviously, their plans afoot, where we will then be collaborating in terms of sucking this one out.
We must continue talking to you, Sergeant.
But I think maybe in conclusion, we need to also look at the other crime, which I think is not properly reported or not covered. But I think we'll bring it at some point. Because one of the other crimes which is associated with cable theft and vandalism is what we call the illegal connection by the informal settlements, a lot of dilapidated, bad and problem buildings within the inner city. The city is losing a lot of money out of that. That runs to billions annually. And we also want to look at that because we then find that there are certain syndicates who are running what we call parallel distribution centers of electricity in various informal settlements, where they come in, they put transformers there, and they start to distribute electricity to communities at a fee. And that in itself, it tells you that slowly, slowly, we are gravitating into some parallel states of some sort that are mushrooming within our societies. But I think I'll come at some point
to
indicate the strategies
Yeah.
in terms of arresting those kind of issues.
Look, Sergeant, we really appreciate the time, and I think there's so many other aspects that we really want to touch on, especially when you talk about risk factors, meeting up with law enforcement as well, areas like Lombardy East being such a prominent zone, and how exactly to fix that area. So we appreciate it. We love the fact that you also come in to speak to us. So please, we'd love to chat to you again very soon, because this is an ongoing matter. That's Sergeant Thela, the head of risk and security at City Power. Just that number again, if you are able to call in, it's 011 490 7553.